I'm simply trying to prove that the existence of intelligent artifacts and intelligent life shows that there must be intelligent beings who did this. Who caused them is a matter for a separate investigation. So that's the point I'm trying to make here. The fine-tuning of the universe suggests a fine-tuner. We may be able to say very little about who that fine-tuner is or whether someone else created him. Let's leave that aside. At this point, I'm simply saying the universe was fine-tuned. A fine-tuner did it. I'm calling that fine-tuner God. That is a tight argument within its own ambit. And Dan, you've done nothing to challenge that.
Well, let me tear it apart here. You're basically begging the question logically, because think about what you're doing. Your argument says that the reason there is a God is because we need to explain this complexity. We need to explain the fine-tuning, right? Your premise is, with or without a God, your premise is we have complexity, we have fine-tuning, we have this explanation, and therefore it must have been created by further complexity, right? And then within that statement you're saying, let's exclude God, because you're bringing God into your premise. It's called begging the question. You're saying everything in the universe except God needs an explanation. Everything in the universe, all complexity in the universe except God needs an explanation. You are accepting God. You are bringing him circular reasoning, and that's bad argument. That's bad logic. What a true logician would say is we need to back off from that premise and not have an answer and wait for an answer rather than plug it with your God of the gaps.
Well, I mean, we're waiting, and as new information becomes available, we'll take it into account. But here's my point. My point is that the inference to the best explanation is based on what we do know. So, for example, if I'm walking down a street and I look down an alley and I see a head rolling in the alley, right? I know it didn't just get there automatically. Somebody committed suicide and chopped off their own head, or someone did it. We require some explanation, right? So here we have a universe, and we know it requires explanation. I'm positing an explanation that would account for the intelligent design of the universe. Now, you're saying, how do we account for that being that did that? But see, we know about the universe, we know nothing about that being. If we know, for example, that aliens produced monuments on Jupiter, we still can say nothing about aliens. We have no idea. Do they have 10 eyes? Do they communicate telepathically? We have no idea what those aliens would be like. So therefore, it does not beg the question. It does not beg the question to say, intelligent life did this, but we are unable to account for that intelligent life itself. That's not a begging of the question. That is outside the orbit of our experience, and we know nothing about it. We are now accounting for something that is within our experience, and we're reasonably entitled to infer to an explanation.
Dinesh went over 26 seconds.